Today we're taking the $30 pair of Ecto goggles from Spirit Halloween and we're turning them into these.
Ghostbusters! If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird...
Hey everybody, Jason here of Ghostbusters News, and today, yes, we are taking another look at the Spirit Halloween Ecto goggles. Yes, I know I talked about these back in the summer, but today we're modifying them. We're changing things up. But I would like to remind everybody that these are available right now from SpiritHalloween.com. We've got a preferred link right down below in the description. Click them, buy them today, and make sure you have them in time for Halloween, for your Ghostbuster outfit. And if you do want to mod them like I'm going to today, you have time for that as well. Alright, and as I unbox them out of here, let me say that I absolutely love these goggles. For the price point, once again, of only $29.99, if you don't already have a pair of Ecto goggles, these are can't miss. And for those who didn't check out our first review of them, we do have a link to that as well down below in the description. Certainly recommend you checking that out, but let's give you a quick once-over. Of course, they fit on the head there, over the eyes, and of course they do have lights. Love them. Now, the biggest criticism I've heard when it comes to these goggles is the paint job. A lot of people did not like the very green, if that makes any sense when it comes to this. They're just too green for some, and also the weathering. Some feel like the weathering is just a little overboard, a little bit overkill. So I'm going to try and remedy that today with this custom pair I'm going to paint. Now, before I actually dive into the actual modification of this guy, let me say I'm going to try and keep it easy for you guys. I'm no expert when it comes to prop building or anything like that, so I'm not going to take these apart. I have no plans to take these apart, disassemble them, or anything like that. I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible, so A, I can do this and it winds up looking good, and B, the beginners out there who's watching this video can also do this and hopefully get the same results once again if I am successful in doing this and they don't look like a pile of hot garbage when I'm finished. Alright, so let's get right into the modifications. The first thing I bought was these adhesive gemstones. You're probably thinking to yourself, why do I need these for Ecto goggles? Well, it's real simple. On the top of Ecto goggles, there's usually two like little screws or little holes there that I've seen, so I kind of wanted to emulate that. Now, the gems I bought are adhesive, but I did use super glue underneath them just to make sure they stay secure. Trust me, when I finish painting this, it'll make sense. At least I hope it will make sense. Now, after that, get some painter's tape, and you're going to mask off the areas that you don't want the green spray paint to actually touch, which in our case are the lenses. Yes, we're going to paint over everything on the front of the goggles here. We're going to paint over the fake screws. We're going to paint over the two silver buttons on both sides. We're going to modify all those little details afterwards. Oh, and before I forget, also be sure to detach the side straps. You'll then take your painter's tape and wrap it around the head straps, protecting it from the spray paint we're about to use. Oh, and before I forget, just in case any paint does get to the back side of the goggles, I would also recommend plugging up the eye holes. Now, before we paint the Ecto goggles, we're going to need to prime it, and all the paint I am using today is made by Rust-Oleum. Not that it matters, but the one I'm using is just standard gray primer, but what you want to be sure is to make sure you get one that actually bonds to plastic. That's important. Now, when it comes to actual spray painting the Ecto goggles, once again, Rust-Oleum is what I picked up here. Specialty Camouflage is what I got. Gives it a nice green, but once again, not too green of a color. Now, here are the Ecto goggles, freshly spray painted. Let's get that painter's tape off of there, and wow. I'm absolutely loving this new paint job. I love the way this has turned out, especially after it dried. Now, when it comes to all the small details like coloring in the screws and those side buttons, you've got a lot of different options. If you're good with a paintbrush, you can go in there and paint each individual one separately. I'm not really good with the paintbrush. You could also mask them off and spray paint each individual one, but to me that seemed like a lot of work. So what I used was a simple painter's marker. You just take the goggles, give this a good shake, and start painting where you need it. Now, as that paint dries, we're going to go ahead and add the stickers to the Ecto goggles. And for those wondering, yes, these are the stickers that are provided with the goggles from Spirit Halloween. Now, with that black paint dry, I'm going to go in with a golden paint marker, and I'm going to add a little bit of detail, kind of to make it look like it's worn. Almost like it's revealing a brass underneath. Now, the next step is totally optional, but it is going to give your Ecto goggles a bit of a worn down, used look to them, which I think is a must when it comes to Ghostbuster props. What you're going to want to do is take some black acrylic paint, or I guess you could use like a dark brown as well. It's really all preference how you want to do this. Just dab a little bit on a rag or a hand towel. Take that towel where the paint is and rub it together so it's smeared. And then take where the paint is and dap it just in water. And after that, just start dapping your Ecto goggles with it. And really continue that until you get the desired look you're looking for. And man, I love the way these have turned out so far. I mean, these goggles are just about done, but I think we can kind of distress them a little more. Those buttons on the side that are now black used to be silver, so there's certainly silver paint underneath it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to start scraping away at those side buttons. Keep doing that and you'll be left with this. Once again, do as much or as little or none at all as you'd like. Also, when it comes to the front lenses, I did add a bit of wear and tear to those as well. On the silver portion, I dry brushed some of that black acrylic paint. And on the black portions, I got some silver acrylic paint and also dry brushed. If you don't know what dry brushing is, YouTube it. It's insanely simple. Anyone can do it. I mean, I did it and I've got like the mind of a chimpanzee, so. Now the second to last thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to give it a protective coating. And once again, we're busting out the Rust-Oleum, this time with a clear gloss. The stuff is good, man. It's gonna seal it, it's gonna protect it, and it's gonna revitalize it. Now the last step I recommend everybody doing, and that is picking up some of this stuff. I picked it up at my local Home Depot. It is Auto and Marine Rubber Weather Seal. And we're going to use this as padding for the goggles when I'm resting it on my head. Now the cool stuff about this is it is super soft. It also has self-adhesive on the back here. You just pop it off and stick it on. I didn't find it worked too well on the Ecto goggles, so I just super glued it directly to the back of mine. And after cutting it into 4 individual strips, this is what I was left with. And you know what, guys? With that, I think we are done. Behold my modified Spirit Halloween Ghostbusters Ecto goggles. Being that, once again, I'm a beginner when it comes to this stuff, I absolutely love the way these turned out. Let's actually just pop them right on the head here, and oh yeah, that padding feels so good. It's also a little detail, but I love the fact that you can see a little line of padding. To me, that makes them look so much more professional. So guys, I am ecstatic with how these turned out, and for you guys sitting at home right now, no matter if you pick up the Spirit Halloween goggles and you decide not to modify them, once again, if you want a pair, link down below in the description, you're going to love these things for Halloween. But if you decide you do want to modify them, I have got to say, this was incredibly fun to put together, and I love the finished product here. Once again, I hardly have any history with this stuff whatsoever. I think anybody out there can do the same, if not better, at home. So guys, that does it for our modified Spirit Halloween Ecto goggles. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and we'll be right back here again next time as our Halloween countdown rolls on.